Yeah, I thank you guys all if you spare time to listen to this piece. By now, you must be familiar with the voice. Yeah, I thank you. Thank you so much. Well, in this episode, we are talking about migration and we're talking about labor. So, if you combine it all, it is all about labor migration. And it has been there really for some good time, experiencing around our neighborhoods in our other countries. And I think its challenges has all been recorded, and the history is there for us. Publications are there. Well, it comes to Africa, we've been so much associated with the history of Ethiopia, who have been really in this business for some time. So, what does it mean for us Ugandans? Well, I may not be able to go in history when we started and the labor trends in Uganda. But this in particular, if you're talking about really labor and migration, yeah, this is where we now said, okay, a lot has really happened. And I'm thankful to our government really who has said that, well, let labor and migration be there, but we are talking about safe labor migration. So this is where we are talking up. So in this sense, government has really rethought it well to say, let's talk about labor, safe labor migration. And the policy is really there. Policies and mechanisms have really been put forward to make sure that labor migration is realized in Uganda. And we are really actively trying to pilot this policy in the Gulf countries, especially in Saudi Arabia, where Ugandans are really, and the Middle East, where Ugandans are really finding their fortunes. So, a lot is happening, and guys are really moving. Ugandans are really moving, and it's true. The labor supplies is really growing in the recent times, no doubt about it. And we have seen that the effort of government locally to employ Ugandans is also there. But the reality, we have to accept the reality is that um, the local mechanisms have really gotten frustrated because Ugandans are going to school every other day, coming out. Many Ugandans have been passed out from different universities, different colleges, different institutions, and these Ugandans are in there. Well, we may not be able to absorb all this increasing supply of labor. That's why we need to agree with the facts that Ugandans need to move to where they can be able to find their fortunes. Well, they have really moved. Some people are going to Canada. We really, on daily basis, we see people really going as doctors, as engineers, to look for their green pastures, meet these fortunes where they exist. Because sometimes fortunes, they say, don't move. So you need to move to where they are fortunes. So, well, let me be particular to what we are talking about today. Government in the policy of safe labor migration has put different mechanisms, systems, and tools to bring check and balance and observe how the policy is implemented. Well down the road, I want really to speak on issues of system and how Uganda is, what is the Ugandan's position in safe labor migration. Yeah, we have really seen that the complaints are there for East Africa, for Middle East. We have really seen the history is there, and we have tend to observe now that the numbers of complaints are reducing, and this effort really needs to be worked so forth to see that it's so hardly to see that they reduce, if not zero, at least maybe from 50 to 30, if not 30, maybe to 20 or 10. Probably if it is zero, it will be in our advantage. Well, what do we need to do here? The policy has attracted investors, and these are purely local investors who have opened recruitment firms, who have established training centers, purely local content. Yeah, now this is where I'm coming from. This is the purpose of this piece. Now that we need to do better. Yeah, we have sat and seen really critically the importance, the low-lying fruits for the system. I'm talking about the inmates, those who are familiar with the system that government uses to track performance of safe labor, and also streamlining the players who are engaged, who have invested into the policy. The system is doing well. Recently, we had the training and we are reviewing the system. We really see how the system is working. So now this is my message. We need now to move from where we've been to where we need to work together. Government and private stakeholders need to work together, especially those who are invested directly and who are using the system, who are involved directly. And these are the people I'm talking about: the private recruitment companies, the private firms, and the labor training institutions. We need to practice trapetism. So that this is really very important. We need to work in a triangle. And the triangle must benefit all of us, and the triangle must be built strong. Yeah, and this is where we say that we need to build the house of labor strong. Tripartism is a very important thing. It's a very important method of work, where you find that government, with the regulator, is working with the stakeholders, private sector, who have invested into the policy, and the beneficiaries, who are the migrants, who are the workers migrating to work overseas, also benefit from the policy. So we need to find out this work. That is number one, if we need to really to move forward. And then two, the business itself is driven by time. We need to find that every policy that we put in place must favor time, must be into timeline. Locally here, how we get people, how we train, how they move, how we clear them, must be within a given jurisdiction, must be within a given time. And we must be able to set standards if we are to flourish. If we want a business to flourish, if we want to attract more people to invest into the policy. Because Ugandans are there and every time they are coming. Yeah. So our interest is that we need to build a triangle which is really practicable, which is really favoring everyone. Because government interest here is protecting government image. Even when people are going out, the government image must be safe. Yeah, that is government interest. And government interest that Ugandans who are going to work must be safe. That is the number two. Ugandans are safe wherever they go. So what about the key stakeholders? What is their interest? Their interest that things are done in time. Yeah, that is their interest. Then their second interest is that it has to be economical in a way. It has to be economical. Now for us, it is business when it is 10 minus 3. When it is 10 minus 5. But it is not, that's to make a business sense. But 5 minus 10 is no business in any way. So that is really very important. That is really very important for us. So what about the workers? So the workers have to be also safe wherever they go. And whatever they are engaged in terms of work must be gainful. So that is the side of the workers. So all of us, if you're talking about tripartism, all these interests must be safeguarded. Yeah, to have a complete circle strong, to have the house of labor strong. So what we are talking about, we must be able now to think about the house of labor for all. The house of labor. So this time it shouldn't be only a ministry of labor, but it must be a house of labor where all these players' interests are protected and safeguarded. Yeah, so that's what we're talking about. So, well, at the side of the training centers, we're now building capacities to see that we specialize on training other categories of workers. Yeah, it is true that we are setting precedents on training home managers, house managers. And now with the investment that we have put down, we are sure that the labor that we are going to produce is of quality, meets the market. But now we also want to come out and say, before we need to now to know what does the market need. We need to start researching on the market. Carry out a research. What does the market need? So that we train, we now bake these people towards the interests of the market. So that is what our work is on. That's what we're now engaged. So we need to come out clearly, and we need to have a support of government. We need to take a lead in some of this. And also, number two, from the trainers, we need to redeploy back into the system. Supporting government in all this is not because we are paying government services to do our work, but we know that maybe it is one way we can have a public-private partnership with government so that the business is strong, so that the business is economical. People who are engaged as if people, the workers who are being who are in transit also gain. Those who are also those who are in the business, who are invested, gain. Also, government gets a good image. So that is what we need to do. Yeah. So it is very, really important that this message is picked up and we really start implementing it. So our interest going forward is to make sure that we reemploy as private sectors, we reemploy to see that the systems, the mechanisms, the policy are working. We don't want to have these excuses where I find that things have to work and you go and put the regulator in place and they say there is no money. We just really need to find out that in the house, in the labor house, where do we have some money to facilitate these processes? Besides the taxes that we pay, yeah, that is our side role. That's our contribution to the state, to the country. But we need now also to have this money aside as private sector so that we facilitate our interest. So I thank you. If you get this message well, wherever the office you sit, whether you're a private player, whether you are in government,